Hoje falamos de uma cidade dividida em duas partes.
We had a socialist part. They built their cities different.
If you haven't got that lots of money, you need ideas, you need inspiration, you need, somehow good thoughts.
It truly belongs to them. There's a set of laws in place. You do not boo your own team. You stay until the very end.
Que finalmente conseguiu celebrar sua unificação.
For the fans of Union, Hertha wasn't a rivalry because it was a different town, it was a different country. 1 or 2 years you thought like, okay, they're coming up, but they will go down, they're smaller, they can't compete on this level. But now they're here, and now you can see, fuck, they are here and they will stay here.
Em cada país, em cada região do mundo, há costumes e crenças que constroem o esporte local. O futebol é cultura, e não é ser exclusiva do peleja. A gente se desloca para te mostrar uma das tantas subculturas. Berlim não é só a capital da Alemanha. Parece ser capital mundial da cultura urbana e diversidade de perfis, com uma energia difícil de explicar. Talvez por ter vivido tantos traumas e transições, isso é uma das poucas cidades do mundo que causa essa sensação do imprevisível. Antes de falar sobre a cidade, eu tenho um recado para você. Baixe agora o aplicativo do OneFootball, parceiro do Peleja. O OneFootball transmite oficialmente todos os jogos da Bundesliga para o Brasil. Assim você fica por dentro de tudo e fica mais próximo do que vamos te mostrar neste e nos próximos episódios na Alemanha. Não perca mais tempo. Clique no link na descrição do vídeo e baixe já o OneFootball.
That was squatted houses in East Berlin. That was the gay scene from former West Berlin. That was the anarchists from former West Berlin. That was black musicians from Detroit coming together after the fall of the Berlin Wall. It was outsiders, and they were using art and culture in a city that supported that and understood that somehow. You look at every great period in Berlin's history, and they're often either directly before or directly after tragic and important serious periods. Just as the Love Parade in the 1990s with 2 million people dancing to techno in the middle of the city. And this is also, it's always the triumph of the outsiders.
You can see, if you go to the city of Berlin, you will see some architectural differences because like 50, 60 years we had a socialist part. They built their cities different. So if you go to the eastern part, you will see it looks different, even though like in the background you see lots of new buildings. But if you go farther east, you see it.
O país era dividido entre a Alemanha Oriental e a Alemanha Ocidental. O muro de Berlim, a partir da década de 60, separava não só amigos e famílias na cidade, mas também o futebol. No lado oriental, um clube modesto e charmoso tentava a sorte em divisões inferiores, já que com a separação pelo muro, não tinha chances de jogar em ligas mais qualificadas no lado ocidental do país. A Union Berlin tem tantas subculturas rodeando a sua história que fica difícil falar só de uma. Uma das suas marcas é o fato de os torcedores definirem praticamente todos os caminhos que o clube sigue. Eles são os donos do time. Outra coisa, o bairro onde ele fica é Köpenick, dos mais undergrounds da cidade.
There's beautiful forest around us here, but it's actually, importantly, it's close to two places. It's close to Oberschöneweide, where the club was actually founded, and they were Union Oberschöneweide originally, and that was heavy industrial Berlin at the turn of the 20th century. And so their roots there are very strong, and they've had this Sportplatz for over 100 years now, so it represents that. It's also close to Köpenick, beautiful, leafy, green, watery place with a story of the Hauptmann at Köpenick and this sort of rebellious mythology. It all ties together somehow.
And that tradition of being voted on by the people, how has it manifested itself, first of all, in the stadium? Like, what are the 3 to 5 things that make this place unlike any other ground in the world?
The defining thing that makes this stadium what it is, of course, the history of the rebuilding.
We had actually 3 times where it got like built or rebuilt by with fans and by fans. The first time was in the 20s, where the stadium where it was right now got built by players and fans. And then in the 70s, where it got set up airports by the fans. And then later on we had a massive reconstruction.
But the stadium was a mess. There was none of this. There was no roofs over any of this. Those terraces you see were cracking, they were crumbling, there were roots, weeds popping through.
There was the idea of getting the fans involved because the club struggled with money, and this time we're thinking about it's a high risk and it's a huge task, but how can we manage? And at the end, the result is awesome. We all love the stadium.
It truly belongs to them. There's a set of laws in place. You do not boo your own team. You stay until the very end. You applaud them off if you've lost 7-0. It doesn't matter. The scoreboard itself, that's from the original stadium. That will always be there. It really is of the people. The corner flags are painted by an artist called Andorra with his own face on it. They're unique. There's nothing like it certainly in England, near the top leagues of German football. This is a stadium for the people who built it and the people who fill it.
Esse é, sem dúvida, dos lugares mais cheios de significado que eu já fui. Assim como o Vasco de Gama, o Internacional e a Ponte Preta, é estádio construído ou reformado pela própria torcida. E quem ama a Union Berlin sabe que temos o clube nas mãos, até nas horas ruins. Em 2004, para conta do momento econômico ruim da União, os torcedores fizeram uma campanha peculiar de donação de sangue. Todo o sangue doado era retribuído como valor simbólico pelo governo alemão. Isso ajudou o clube e incentivou que novas ações fossem feitas por ali.
If you haven't got that lots of money, you need ideas, you need inspiration, you need, somehow good thoughts. And you need people who try their very best just for their club. And that's actually what we had. And what we try to do is, and we keep on trying that, is give enough space for the people to come up with their ideas. They need to know who they can go to if they have an idea. Who can they ask? And the people know that. Because you can come here to the stadium early in the morning and just spend one day on our parking lot. And you will meet all the players, you meet the head coach, you meet maybe me, you meet the president of the club, and you can talk to everyone easily. And people do that.
That's the secret.
So.
Para entender pouco mais da história da Union Berlin e do futebol na cidade, eu decidi colar no estádio onde o seu rival joga, o Hertha Berlin. E dá para sentir logo de cara as diferenças entre os dois. Paragonado a Forestrai, são duas coisas totalmente diferentes. Não sei se é uma capital global, tem uma rivalidade, clássico, que é totalmente uma diferença tão tangível como essa. Vem comigo.
Just a couple of, I think it was weeks after the wall came down, there was a friendly match between Hertha and Union in the western part of the city, in the Olympic Stadium. And everybody from the eastern part could go there for free without a ticket. And people who went there, I was too small, it was like in 1989, or maybe 1990 in the beginning. But the people who went there, they say it was the fullest ever in the Olympic Stadium, because everybody went there. It was like a huge, festival. Because the people from the east, they came with their trubbies, and people who went there, they say it smelled like the trubby smoke. And it was just way more than 80,000 people, and they were celebrating together.
The Olympic Stadium belongs to the city of Berlin. It doesn't belong to Hertha BSC.
Tell me a little bit about the nature of this rivalry before the fall of this wall.
Before the fall of the wall, the fans of Union and the fans of Hertha, they were like pretty friendly to each other. There were really friendships between the fans of these two clubs, because for the fans of Union, Hertha wasn't a rivalry because it was a different town, it was a different country. And for them, actually, whenever Hertha played in the eastern part behind the Iron Curtain, they tried to get there.
It's not a big rivalry filled with hatred a lot. because there was a special history between both clubs once the city was divided. So it was kind of a fairy tale thing. You couldn't reach one another, so you tried to somehow be imaginary friends.
Well, in the old days, I mean, there was largely a tradition of friendship between them. There was a famous quote, was Freunde hinter Stacheldraht, friends behind barbed wire. And so they would chant about the wall, they would chant about when they would be able to play each other again. But it's easier to be friends with someone who you don't play.
Of course.
Com a queda do Muro de Berlim em 1989, isso começou a mudar. A União agora podia jogar não só contra o Hertha, mas contra clubes com maior poder aquisitivo e mais qualidade técnica. Isso fez elas evoluírem aos poucos, com altos e baixos, até finalmente chegarem pela primeira vez na Bundesliga em 2019.
Union was better the last couple of years. The last 2 years, Union finished above Hertha. And right now, if you count the members of the clubs, Union is a little bit ahead. It's just a couple of hundreds, but it's really, really close. But Union is ahead for the first time ever. There's a bigger club, if you just look at the members, than Hertha Berlin. Of course, right now, for the match, for the derby now, it's the first time, I'd say, that Union is really favored to win.
Well, I think the expectation and the feeling going into this city is of a great optimism from the Union side. It's a bit cautious from the Hertha side. They've had a couple of tricky years. I also think that there's a lot of people in this city hoping that it remains peaceful, that we can retain a proper rivalry with Hertha BSC without it developing into the throwing of fireworks or whatever it may be. But I think there's a very keen sense of anticipation that it comes on the first day of the season. It's perfect.
E bom dia, minha gente. É dia do clássico. Aqui estamos em Copenhague, onde podes ver, tem uma vibe da vila, totalmente separada do resto da cidade. Isso é a coisa que rende distinta este clube. Quieto. Calma. Em poucos momentos, bom, o fogo. Ok, estamos no momento do partido. Correndo para trás da polícia, porque os torcedores da União decidiram ir ao outro lado para a caminhada ao estádio. Esses momentos são as coisas que uma pessoa não compreende. Eu posso estar para trás da cultura do futebol aqui na Alemanha. Você pode assistir da graça no One Football, que está apoiando esse conteúdo do Peleja. É só baixar o app no link na descrição.
Berlin needs a strong union. It needs a strong Hertha because people are talking about Berlin, the opening game of the season, a derby at the Outer Förster Reihe. This gets people talking about Berlin, and the city needs this.
If you look at the Hertha side, I think the people, Union is getting more and more on their nerves, you know. In the first 1 or 2 years, you thought like, okay, they're coming up, but they will go down. They will go down, they're smaller, they can't compete on this level. But now they're here, and now you can see, fuck, they are here and they will stay here, I guess, and right now they're even better.
You have a chance there, like, to interact with the club, for example, for merch, give your ideas to how the merch should look like. That, for example, you don't have pink stuff, or for women that you have like just red and white, because that's the club colors. And in my group, in my department, we do a lot with social things. For example, collecting clothes for homeless people who have less money, or collecting like old metal that people, fans with handicap, can go for an away trip. And
for refugees.
Yeah, for refugees we also do a lot. We have the people in Köpenick who live there to get integrated in the society, and so you get in contact with a lot of people. And so normally you have like a group, you know everyone, and you do things together.
Passando alguns dias em Berlim, eu próximo deste clube tão fascinante, eu percebi que a subcultura por aqui não passa só pelos tantos elementos culturais da cidade. A subcultura no Union Berlin é da união. Como disse o próprio nome, as pessoas que viveram tantas traumas e separações, hoje conseguimos se juntar numa comunidade que pensa o futebol como senso de pertencimento.
Somehow it makes us proud, of course, because what we show the world is it is possible in different ways. If you take a look at our budget in the last years, of course it developed, but it's far away from, you know, being a natural contender for European competition. So we are proud, we are happy. That will be a great, even greater, even bigger adventure for us than it was the last year.
Però a cosa che mais gosto é a gente que está trabalhando neste estádio. Todos são torcedores, todos trabalham feliz, porque fazem parte dessa comunidade mais grande. Isso é voluntariado.